Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today is a lot less sunny than it was yesterday. And I've got my supervisor out here checking on me, making sure I'm doing everything okay inside here since I'm not outside right now. Today's pretty windy and cold, and we had some pretty intense wind overnight and definitely brought in some snow to the mountains behind me over here. But again, it's welcome and much needed. So my last video, or not my last video, I guess a couple of videos ago, I had mentioned that I was going to go and pick up some supplies for the local senior citizen center due to the, food insecurity issue that we're going to see starting in November. And I'd also mentioned that I was going to pick up a few things for myself. So today, the things that I picked up, I'm going to bag up and prepare to be stored the way I keep them. Now, I had mentioned I am not some huge prepper with this huge food vault. I do keep enough to get me through a little bit of time, but I don't really have the room to be like I would if I could. But I do have to store it because of where I live a certain way, because the rodents are just awful. I mean, I have 5 cats and they are kept busy. I'll just say that. So I thought what I would do today, since I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff prepared, is show you what I do. You may have seen this on many other channels, and I hate to repeat information that's been out there over and over and over, but I'm doing it, so I figured I may as well just share how I do it. And, it's also a really not only a way to keep your food from getting invaded by rats and mice, but you'll see on the expiration dates of these bags that they expire in 2026. I think they're May and June of 2026. And what I'm doing today, actually, since it is legumes, these will be good for 10, 20, 30 years the way that I am storing them. So, it's something that you can buy for fairly cheap and just put away, tuck away, and make sure it's stored right. Ideally, you want to keep it between, I think it's 50 to 70 degrees. Cool. Dropping below that is probably better than it getting above that. But what you're controlling is the humidity. You just don't want it getting super cold, getting condensation, and then warming up and, going back and forth and fluctuating. So anyway, let's take a look at how I do this, and hopefully it helps you guys. So preparing it this way initially, there's going to be a little bit of an investment. And this right here is a box of Mylar bags. And it comes with, depending on the package that you get, you can get the big 5-gallon size bags that go into the 5-gallon buckets. I prefer to have smaller ones because when I open it up, I don't want a big 5-gallon bucket of open rice or whatever. So, there are different brands. Everybody has their preferences. But this is the thickness of the milliliter is what you want to pay attention to. You don't want something super thin. So anyway, I haven't bought these in a while, but I believe this bag is this box is around $20 maybe. And then I did show this in another video. This is a free bucket that I got from the deli at one of my local grocery stores. One gives them away, one charges for them, but as you can see, it has a seal right there, and it is food grade because it has had food in it. And then you're going to want a small, I used this little mini, I think this was $10 on Amazon, flat iron, and you'll see what that is for. So on my trip, I bought 3 bags of things. I had mentioned the prices had gone up, and they certainly had. This ended up being $9.99 for a 10-pound bag. These were a little bit more. These are dried garbanzo beans. I believe these were $14.99, and then I believe these were $13.99. But the thing with buying legumes and rice and things like that, you figure a cup full of split peas will make you a good sized soup if you put other things in it. Potatoes, you can get canned ham, which you can also store for a long time and pull out. But garbanzo beans, they're versatile. You obviously rehydrate them. You can add them to salads. You can blend them down and make a hummus. You can also rehydrate them and put them in the air fryer and make like a crispy seasoned snack out of them. But all of these they're hearty, and they're going to go a long way for using a little bit. And again, an initial investment, but this is something that you can put away and not even think about for 10, 20, 30 years, like I said. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a food expert or anybody who does food inspections. So use your own advisory, what you would use these after a certain amount of time. But typically speaking, there's a lot of stuff that's been found, in old homes and things like that. And it has been experimented with what is okay to eat and what's not. But as you'll see on this one, like I had mentioned, the expiration date on this one is June of 2026. And this one is May of 2026. So anyway, this is what I got. So I'm going to show you some close-ups of this as I talk, but I wanted to kind of show you the setup of what to expect inside the box of the Mylar bag. So this here are the oxygen absorbers that come in it. And depending on, I wrote that on there, which says 500. That's the potency of the oxygen absorber. Typically, it's my understanding, I think they're usually about 250. So a bag this size here, you would want to use 2 of the 250 oxygen absorbers. These are 500, so I'll use 1 in there. Now, these do not come with the Mylar bag. This was an extra purchase of mine. And this is a desiccant. I hope I said that right. And that's the thing that looks like this, which we're probably all more familiar with. When you buy a pair of shoes or something like that, you'll see that sitting inside them. And the difference is this absorbs moisture. This absorbs oxygen. You do not want to use both in one bag. So the reason I have these, this will go in your bag, okay? So this is going to keep oxygen and air from getting inside where your food is, because oxygen and air is what will break down the potency of your food and start to basically metabolize it. The desiccants I use inside the bucket. So once I have the food in the bag, and I'll show you what I do. Once I have the food inside the bag and then the bag goes in the bucket, I will usually put a desiccant inside the bucket, just loosely sitting in there. And the purpose of that is, like I said earlier, when you have humidity or temperature fluctuation, it's just natural for condensation to build up. So I try to keep condensation from building up inside the bucket by just keeping one of those in there, as well as a couple bay leaves. So bay leaves are kind of a natural bug and rodent deterrent. They don't like it. So I'll float a couple of those in there with some bay leaves inside the bucket freely. So I hope that was clear. You will also get, typically, these are just little marker labels for your bag. And that's pretty much it. So I'll show you what I do. All right, so as you will see here, one tip I would suggest is to label your bag, as well as write the instructions on how to prepare them ahead of time. Because once the stuff is in there, it's harder to, write on it and do all that. So I just usually prepare it before I put everything in there. And here's what I put on the labels. So I just put the month and the year that I packed it, what it is. And then depending on, what you're bagging, I will write the expiration date that's on the packaging. So it just gives me some kind of reference of how long has that been sitting in there. And then again, the instructions. Now the instructions weren't on that bag, so I had to look it up. So I just Googled cooking garbanzo beans and it came right up. So anyway, just real simple, reference of how to cook it. All right, so I'm going to open the bag. One thing I definitely try not to do, I've washed my hands, they are clean, but I try not to shove my hand inside this bag, and here's why. Not only for germs or bacteria or anything like that, but the oil from your hands inside the bag, oil will go rancid. So that's why there are certain things that you can't, like nuts and stuff like that have oil in it. You don't ever, and actually brown rice, it's preferred to store white, bleached white grain rice over brown rice because brown rice has more oil in it and it doesn't last as long. So anything with oils in it is going to go rancid. So you want to just keep things that are really, really dry, and as well as keeping your hand out of there. So the bottom of this bag has a little expandy thing, and there are times where you have to put your hand in there, but just use discretion and not, don't do it if you don't have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this scooper here to scoop everything out and put it in the bag. See? All right, so I didn't fill the bag up all the way, but you do what you want to do. I don't suggest filling it all the way up to the top. Give it some room. Now, I had said on another video, I always keep my leftover oxygen absorbers when I open that package in a jar. You'll hear it. You can see it suctioned it. Did you hear that? It keeps them from going bad. And then I just put that back on there. Tighten that up. And you don't want to goof around for too long. You want to get this in there and seal it up. And I just try to squeeze out excess. Just like that. Okay. So now the last step is going to be sealing the top of this. Nothing's perfect. This is just a Ziploc. So again, this oxygen absorber is going to start sucking in all the air. And sometimes the bags will look like they're vacuum sealed. They'll suck in, and sometimes they don't. It doesn't mean that it didn't work. All right, now that the little mini flat iron is hot, I'm going to just show you what I do. So I just run it along the top here, and you'll see how it kind of splits open, and then you can see it melt, basically. And that's what you want it to do. I'm trying to do this behind a camera. It's not easy. But you want to just make sure that you get these sides over here. And again, you'll start to see it kind of melt together. As a former hairdresser, I would not recommend using your best flat iron to do this. I've never seen any kind of residue or smelled anything coming off the flat iron here, but hopefully if you're using a flat iron on your hair, you're using something with some really nice plates on it. This is a super cheap flat iron, so I don't really worry about it, but I wouldn't want to use your nice plates to do this on basically melting plastic and then run it on your hair. So again, making sure you get those corners, and you'll see that it seals up that top. So what that'll do, it keeps that Ziploc secure in case there were any, little tiny crevices in it that allowed air to get through. So that's it. It's that easy, that simple. All right, so through the magic of YouTube, just like that, they are done. this probably took about 15 minutes. It's such a quick thing. And I mean, as you can see, one bag alone would just last you a really long time, depending on how you cooked it. You know, whether you did it as just a bean dish or you cooked a soup with it or something like that. But there's many reasons to always just have a little bit on hand. I mean, you don't really have to go overboard. I know FEMA says 3 days of food and water. I would always recommend maybe like 2 weeks. You never know. You may have a natural disaster. I'm here in Montana and we will get a snowstorm that comes out of nowhere. And if it knocks out our power for a few days, kind of SOL unless you have a little bit put aside. We're looking at this situation where we're hearing rumors of Walmart closing so that they don't get looted starting in November, or people that are going to be looting and waiting outside the stores. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I really hope not. It really saddens me to think about people having to resort to that. But you just never know. And there may come a time where you have to stay home and hunker down and have a little something put aside. But I hope that helps you guys. And that's what I do. That's my plan. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have a lot of room for the big, huge prepper vault. But, you know, just a little something like this tucked away, it helps in times where you didn't expect it. And none of us expected this happening in November. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Take care. Where'd you, mommy? Your butt stinks. Your butt stinks. Your butt stinks.